Peace and love. 000 on the clock. Sending you all positive energy, high vibes, success on your entrepreneurship, all love, all positivity. Make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel. You hit the like button and you leave me any comments or questions in my description below. 18 was just on the clock. Today, I'm going to be speaking about the power of initiation and how in Rosicrucian, they use great techniques of their initiations that help them with soul evolution. So I'm going to be letting you all know the techniques that they use so it can help you on your path of spiritual ascension. Okay, first, they use the term of thinking mind. Okay, having the overstanding of mentalism. One of the ancient ideas, all is mind, mind is all. We create our reality based on what we're thinking. Okay, so we have to master ourselves and master the mind. Okay, so for an example, we have sacred geometry. And the mathematics of the geometry is symbolic to the words, the patterns, the frequency of God that is manifested into physical form. Okay, so once we are aware of the mathematics system, the geometry, and the power of God, we then have the understanding of the spiritual nature of the being. We're then able to use our mind to be able to perceive a higher level of consciousness, to know that we are gods. We access 222 on the clock, the power of the Godheads. And they wanted us to have the understanding of that. Yahweh, Buddha, Jesus Christ. Okay. Once we are balanced with the physical, the mental, the spiritual, the emotion, we then be able to tap into our true divinity and be aware of the mind and how powerful it is. Okay. We be able to have knowledge of the spiritual system, and that's a part of initiation for the Rosicrucian. So they also use clairvoyance. Okay, now we have different traditions, and they use the connection of the pineal gland. Okay, that's the place where we awaken the God that dwells within us. Okay? It's known to be the Gotika. It's known to be the Christ consciousness. And it's speaking about that pineal gland. Once it's activated, we perceive a higher level of consciousness and we're able to ascend and be able to bring forth all our manifestations into fruition. Okay, so they have a rose light that rises and open up from the center, and it enters from the third ventricle. Okay, and it's also known as the cave of Brahma. Okay, it's an area in the head, and it sits in between the pituitary gland and the pineal gland. It arises and it's activated, and it's known to be the flame that's activated, and it's symbolic to awakening to a higher level of consciousness. The crystallized stone that's in the pineal gland is activated. We perceive a higher level of consciousness. We're able to bring our manifestations into fruition. We're able to connect with the Godheads. And we receive great power 444 was just on the clock. Okay, always be familiar with that. So they also use action of will. Okay, now action of will is symbolic to actually us transmitting, for an example, lead into liquid gold. Okay, using the alchemical process of alchemy. Okay, being able to transform from a lower state of mind, lower state of the root chakra, and ascend and perceive a higher level of consciousness. And for an example, it's just like we ascend and we start to navigate through different dimensions. We start off at that one dimension, will be like this pen. Then we add on layers. So we add on 2 more. So that's 3 dimensions. Okay, that's how we operate. We expand our level of consciousness. We ascend. We ascend like the temples in ancient Kemet. Okay, that are built. They built short and round, and then they ascend up to the heavens. The pyramids are symbolic to ascension. Okay, they short and wide at the bottom, and then they'll ascend up and have that point at the end of them, and it's all ascending to heaven. Okay, so that's how we do as celestial beings. When we become aware of who we are, we elevate. We perceive a higher level of consciousness. We awaken that pineal gland. It crystallizes. And then we connect to the God that's within us. And we're able to call things to us like this, like a magnet. It starts to attract to us like this. 7:07 on the clock. Okay. So it's basically like we're transforming from the physical world. Okay. And we transforming things internally. Okay. And then it manifests in the physical world. Okay. So when we deal with actually the different initiations and different traditions, we have them that one that use the head, the heart, and the hora. Okay, we have Buddha. They use the thought, the speech, and actions. And we have a actually tradition. They use, their name is Sufis, and they use the head, the heart, and hands. In China, they use the lower, the middle, and the upper dantian. Okay, and Japanese is hora. Okay, always be familiar with that. So as we have the understanding of awareness, that's the next initiation. They do some self observing. Okay, and it helps them to be able to remember and call back the daily activities that they're participating in, what they're thinking. Okay, and it actually helped them with triggers than reaction. Okay, it helps them to illuminate the feelings. Okay, and bring different processes, into the situation. Okay, so we always want to be able to observe things and participating in our daily activities, our thoughts, and when we do, it helps us to be of balance and also have discipline to know what we are thinking, what we are doing throughout the day. Okay, and it'll help us to stay in a positive state of mind, vibrate on a high frequency of love, be disciplined, and to be more calm. Okay, discipline is a part of self-mastery. Okay, it helps us to be balanced and to have those daily routines. And once we do, it's like it helps us to bring our manifestations into fruition quicker. It helps us to operate on a heart space of love. Okay, and once we do, the power is always amplified. We receive great things because we are balanced and we are operating from the harmonizing field of love. Okay, so they also participated in an actually initiation of backwards review. Okay, so it's known to be backward thinking or either backwards of review, and it's symbolic. I did a video on that a little bit earlier. It's symbolic to them thinking backwards at nighttime. At nighttime, when they went to bed, they will think backwards, go into a meditative state, and think of all the things that they've done earlier in the day, and they'll think it backwards. Okay, so when you're starting off, you can always start off with, you'll go on with your day in the rising, and when it gets midday, you can then sit down, go into a meditative state, and think of everything that you did in the rising. Okay, backwards. 111 was just on the clock. And when you do, this helps to enhance your memory, expand your memory, your neurotransmitters, then multiplies. Okay, your brain actually increases. Okay, it helps you with your visualizing as well. Okay, and it helps you to be in the present moment. Okay, so a series of events turn into a massive of events. Okay, so it's symbolic to, for an example, we have the right hemisphere and we have the left hemisphere. The left is more logical, but when we're dealing with the right hemisphere, that's connected to the harmonizing field, the intuitive, divine feminine, and a creative side. Okay, it's a more brighter light, and that's where we create the beautiful things the most. But we have to have both of them balanced out. 222 was just on the clock. Okay, my left eye blinking too. So once we do the backward thinking, it helps us. It's like a picture, for an example, of 5 different artwork designs turns into thousands of different artworks designs. That's how we're able to bring our manifestations into fruition more sooner once we do the backwards thinking. Okay, because it's helping us with visualizing, memory, being in the present moment as well. Okay, once we are in the present moment, we create the beautiful things the most. We tap into heart coherence and brain coherence, 2 particles resonating together to create something beautiful. Okay, so we tapping into that heart harmonizing field. Okay, and we're able to just bring things forth sooner because we are participating in these activities that's going to help us to ascend. It's going to help with the mentalism. All is mind, mind is all. It's a part of self-mastery. So once we take on the task of backwards review, we present. We redirecting our subconscious mind. Okay, 14:14 on the clock. Once we participate in that, because our subconscious mind is a record of the past. So once we are directing our conscious mind to redirect the subconscious mind, we have great power. And we're able to bring our manifestations into fruition. We're able to have whatever we are deserving of this lifetime. But we have to be able to do the work. We have to be able to do the work. And it's a lot of work, It's some tough initiations. But we can get through them, and we just have to be of balance. And it's just like our main 5 parts of the body. Okay, we have the 2 hands connected with the arms. Then we have the legs and the feet. Two legs, 2 arms, and a head. Okay, that is symbolic to the pentagram. Okay, and the pentagram is symbolic to the 4 elements of the earth, and also connected with ether, which is 5. Okay, so we are the divine body of divine oneness, its wholeness. It's just like we had to have the 4 pillars to keep the earth balanced properly. If everything's off balance, it will disrupt the earth. And it's just how our bodies work. So once we take on these techniques, it helps us to ascend to a higher level of consciousness. Another important initiation process that they took on in Rosicrucian is, once they received a higher level of consciousness, they sent the elevator back down. Okay, they put the knowledge that they gained into the forefront of the collective consciousness. And that's how we do in spirituality. Once we perceive a higher level of consciousness, we then become of light to the collective consciousness. We become of service and we help others. Okay, always be familiar with that. So also, they use actually images for observation of life force, and some of them, it took them a year to do it, and they just documented their growth and a progress. Okay, once you develop the life force, you see things of how it's processed throughout life. Okay, so it's basically like self-observation. They're paying attention of what's going on in their daily activities and in their life period. It's just like, we got to pay attention. We got to be aware. We got to tune in. Like, once I'm aware, once I'm present, once I'm paying attention, because we training ourselves what to do. Once we train ourselves, it helps us with discipline and to build our character and to turn into this powerful I am status. And once we in that status, we free. We free. And we are tapping into our true divinity, and we have access, the God that dwells within us. And that's what it's all about. Okay? Always be familiar with that. So they also did a practice of reading language of spiritual experiences and also meditation from other individuals' experiences. And it's basically like how we want to add on a new task of knowledge. So we then go and we seek and we find knowledge of people of the collective consciousness. Okay? And we take on that knowledge, and it helps us on our journey. Okay? And this helps to regain the experiences and open up to different worlds on the earth when you do that. Okay? You open it up to the collective consciousness, the God body of all, and all the different experiences and thoughts. And that's what we do when we learn. We take on the knowledge of others, and we ascend from that knowledge. Okay? And we take on, that's why I say it's always great. We don't have to agree with everything someone is saying, but we can take on what can help us to vibrate on a high frequency of love. What can help us to ascend to a higher level of consciousness, and whatever else we might not like it, don't take it on. Okay? And it shouldn't let us dislike that person for that. And that's how I am. Okay, once I'm doing my knowledge and I'm researching, I take on what resonates with me and whatever helped me with my soul evolution to vibrate on a high frequency of love. So they actually did a technique in yoga, and it was inhale and exhale practices, but it was done with the consciousness. Okay, so they would inhale and they would perceive the overstanding of the physical world. Okay, breathing in the perception, holding it inside. Okay, once they exhaled, they took the concept in and was able to say, I perceived it. Okay, and it was perceived as a spirit. Okay, so breathing in the perception of the world activity. Okay, breathing out the concept and perceiving it as a spirit world. Okay, so once we take on breathing techniques, it helps us to be able to have that oxygen and the blood circulating through the body properly. And it also helps us with redirecting the subconscious mind, okay, and connecting with the divine force. Okay, always be familiar with that. When we're doing breathing techniques 3 on the clock, we want to make sure that we are inhaling through the nose and exhaling through the mouth. When we inhale through the nose, we take in oxygen better, and the blood flows through the brain and the body better once we are breathing in. We can do a technique of holding our breath for 20 seconds if we can hold it for that long, and exhaling for 20 seconds. And that's a great breathing technique. Okay, and you can do it for however long you inhale, but make sure you inhale through the nose. Okay, always be familiar with that. So, them are the actual 4 twos, y'all. The techniques of the Rosicrucian process and how it helped them to have soul evolution of going through the initiations. Always be familiar that once we are taking on things and we're focusing on our spiritual ascension, just know whatever we put our mind to, whatever we focus on the most, whatever we thinking internally and externally, is always manifesting. So we want to stay on the high frequency of love. Okay, we want to be able to manifest a glorious reality and be able to bring whatever we want to bring into fruition this lifetime, whatever we deserving of. We have to be able to do the work. We have to be able to go through the initiation processes, and we have to be able to get through the challenging moments and just know that persevere through our problems head on, and don't let our problems control us, but control them, and take on great techniques that's going to help us to ascend to a high frequency of love. I love you all. I'm sending you all positive energy and high vibes. Make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel. You hit the like button and you leave me any comments or questions in my description below. I love you all, and I'll be back with more. Peace and love.